One thing that I noticed is that this world seems to be made to frustrate, seems to be made to fail so that we come upon or we get acquainted with that which is not tied to the world. The, you can say, the unawakened position is that which is enmeshed, merged, dependent, is that which is entrained to a specific external element for a particular, let's say, quality or frequency or state, you can say. And so that position is very much dependent on the external world or situations or elements for its well being, for that particular quality. It's like it's enslaved to the external world. It sees that the external world or some element or situation is the one that holds that particular quality, right? That quality is enslaved in that particular situation. It's imprisoned, it's confined in there. Now, the other side of the coin is that which is extricated from that, is that which is free from that. And these two positions, you can say, are impersonal positions. It's an existence. Both are equally valid sides of the coin, right? Recently, there's this situation in my work, and you can say it's like it incited the sense of threat, the sense of, oh, I'm going to lose a sense of security. I'm going to lose a sense of financial security and well being. And when that experience arose, there is this observation or realization, you can say, that this sense of security or wellness is tied, is tied to finances, is tied to the work, is tied to this particular external situation. And so there is this sense of threat, right? When there is an impact or change in that particular external situation. And so it dawned on me, that I have been, you can say, focusing on this side of the coin, this dependent side of the coin, wherein the sense of safety or security is tied, is enmeshed in the external appearance. And that led me to the other side of the coin. If this side of the coin is enmeshed, enslaved, imprisoned, then the other side of the coin is that which is free, that which is independent, that which is extricated from a particular external appearance or circumstance. That there is that sense of security and wellness extricated from work or finances or your, situation. And there is the, you can say, the recognition of that or the touching upon that, which priorly I wasn't acquainted with. You can say I wasn't that deeply acquainted with. But because of this, you can say, unpreferred or unexpected situation, it led me to that acquaintance. It led me to that discovery, you can say. And it became okay, it became okay, whatever happened. There is the recognition of the two sides of the coin, and there is not the vilification, you can say. I got acquainted with the extricated side of the coin, but in that acquaintance or knowing, right, knowing, touching upon that, there's not the need for me to vilify the dependent side of the coin. And in fact, there is the realization that you have the two sides of the coin, that each side of the coin is a valid experience, valid existence, valid cards of the deck, so to speak. There was even an arising of appreciation, for both, for the dependent side and the independent, extricated side. Because if it weren't for the dependent side, the imprisoned, enslaved side of the coin, I wouldn't have recognized that there is this opposite side, that there is this unenslaved side or unenmeshed, extricated version of it. It served as a contrast. It served its purpose. It was used. It was seen as something that served, even though if it's generally seen as a unpreferred situation. And I noticed that there is this field of love, of unconditional love, even for the dependent side of the coin, even for that which is imprisoned, that which is confined, that position wherein there is enmeshment or mergence or dependency, and there's the sense of being threatened, right? When there's a change or impact in that particular element or situation that you are dependent on. So even that position, there is just this inexplicable or unconditional love for it, unconditional appreciation for its character, for its isness, for it as it is, right? For its character, its unique experience. And this unconditional love or appreciation wasn't done by the ego mind, it's not the me doer, right? I'm the one. I'm forcing myself or I'm making great effort to love what is. It's a natural occurrence, like like it's a natural phenomenon. It's ever here. This field of unconditional love and allowance is like nature. It's like a natural phenomenon that's not done or efforted out by the ego doer. It's just a natural lover of what is. This field or this layer, ground is just a natural lover of what is, you know, whether it's the head side or the tail side of the coin. It's not it has equal love for its children, so to speak. And again, there is that natural appreciation for the unique experience of these different cards in the deck, you can say. There is the gratitude for what they bring, for the service that each card brings. Like, I wouldn't have come upon this particular card if it weren't for this other card. It's like it acquainted me, it let me know or recognize or get to know this other card, this other frequency or position, or this other existence, other experiential existence, you know. And so going back to what I said previously about this external world being made to be not stable or not consistent, meant to frustrate, meant to fail. It's so for you to be acquainted with that which is consistent, that which is not dependent on the external world, that which is ever ising, ever ongoing, ever here, ever available, ever standing, extricated, as opposed to the enmeshed, enslaved, imprisoned. Again, let's say equality. There is the experience of that is confined in a particular element, in a particular external situation. And the other side of the coin of that is the extricated, liberated version of it, out of cage, out of confinement, ever here and available, ever standing, consistent, eternal, right? So the world provides this contrast. The external world, you can say, is made to be a diametric opposite of that. Like a slot machine. Sometimes it makes you win, sometimes it doesn't, right? But ultimately, it's the house always wins. The casino always wins, right? It's meant to fail you. It's meant to frustrate. It's not built to consistently serve you or be the true source of your well being, be the reliable, or again, your true beloved, you know? It's actually made to be the diametric opposite, right? It's made to be not consistent. It's made to frustrate you so that you recognize that which is beyond that, the well being that is beyond that, that is not imprisoned in there, that which is extricated from that. I am aware that currently the world system or the justice system or the political system, economic system, etc., is not ideal. There's a lot of, corruption, a lot of frustrating thing about them, a lot of injustice, right? And the purpose that I see is that it's meant to be that. It's meant to fail us so that we don't get stuck in depending on it for our well being, so that we see beyond it, the well being that's beyond it, that's not imprisoned in it. Like imagine a slot machine that's always making you win, that's always catering to you, that's always kowtowing to you, that's always giving you what you want or giving you rewards and prizes. That's always working, you can say. Well, then, if that's the case, the person that's playing the slot machine will never see beyond it. Will always just depend on it. Will always just be trapped in that side of the coin because it's always giving, it's always serving, it's always catering, right? Will be constricted or confined in that infantilized position, right? We'll never know empowerment. We'll never know that which is beyond dependency, that which is beyond enslavement, you can say. There was an incident that first, you can say, introduced me to this reality, to this extricated side of things, extricated layer, so to speak. It was a time when I filed a small claims case and it was a complete failure. It was so obvious, on my side that the other party really did something unscrupulous. That it's pretty obvious that they were trying to take advantage and being deceptive and unethical, and they really owed me an amount, right? But unfortunately, it was a total failure for me. And I was just so boggled, I was so I was so surprised and boggled. I thought that the justice system is there to provide justice. Like, wasn't it obvious? And because of that experience, I just surrendered, I just surrendered it to God. And it made me recognize that the concept or the quality of justice, when I source it from the so called justice system, is not in there. It's going to fail you. And so it introduced me, you can say, to the other side of the coin, the extricated version of justice, you can say, that it's in the hands of God. Yeah, that time I just surrendered it to God. It's a realization that depending or relying these qualities on the external world is a dead end. Or seeing that these qualities are only held by some entity or structure in the external world, or some, whatever authority in the external world, is not true. There is that which is unheld, extricated, from this 3D reality. And so that experience gave me an introductory touching upon of this. There's a surrendering to God. And as I was walking outside in the street, it was already nighttime. And at that time, I was living in a in a red light district area. So, it's actually unsafe to walk outside. And as I was out there walking, even in that, even in that area, I was in such great peace. Even though that incident happened where the court case was a complete failure, it was a complete loss. And walking in that unideal area, and yet this great peace is here. There was such a feeling sense or a flooding of this field of okayness and peace. That was another, you can say, unpreferred situation that actually brought great benefit in terms of awakening or expansion or realization. So yeah, that's what I noticed, this physical 3D world, it's like pushing you, it's pushing you to cease banking on it, you can say. And this is not like a throwing away of common sense or practicality or whatever, but the recognition that if you bank well-being on a slot machine, it's to your detriment. It's not going to serve you. It'll be an action of suffering. If you put your stakes or you bank on a slot machine, it'll be to your detriment. And so the external world is, you can say, teaching us that. It's actually it's leading us to go beyond it, to recognize or get in touch with the peace and well being that is beyond it, that is not held by its hands, that is extricated, freed, liberated from it, you know.